Prologue. Meridian Research Institute, Nevada. 14 months ago. Dr. Alan Reyes had been monitoring Subject 7 for 11 hours when the readings stopped making sense. The EEG showed delta waves, deep sleep patterns, but the boy's eyes were open. Not just open, tracking, following something across the room that wasn't there. "Kieran?" Reyes leaned closer to the glass. "Kieran, can you hear me?" The 14-year-old didn't respond. He hadn't spoken a word in his life, not verbally anyway. That's why he was here. That's why they were all here. 12 non-speaking autistic children ages 9 to 17 gathered from across the country under the pretense of a communication therapy study. The parents had signed consent forms thick as phone books. They didn't know about the Department of Defense funding. They didn't know about the real tests. Reyes checked the secondary monitors. Brain activity in the theta range was spiking in ways he'd never documented. The patterns weren't random. They were rhythmic, almost like language. "Getting some weird harmonics here," said Chen from the adjacent station. She was monitoring 3 other subjects in the East Wing. Subjects 3, 8, and 11 are all showing the same theta spike. Exact same frequency. At the same time? To the millisecond. Reyes felt the first cold finger of unease trace down his spine. The subjects were in separate rooms, soundproofed. No visual contact. The protocol was airtight. "Run a systems check," he said. "Could be equipment crosstalk." But he knew it wasn't. He'd been in this field for 23 years. He'd seen every artifact, every glitch, every false positive that gave lesser researchers publication dreams. This was different. Kieran's hand moved. Reyes almost missed it. A slow, deliberate motion towards the letterboard, strapped to his chair's armrest. The board was a communication tool, 26 letters arranged in a grid. Kieran's occupational therapist had taught him to point at letters to spell words. Simple exchanges, usually. Hungry, tired, bathroom. Now Kieran's finger moved with purpose Reyes had never witnessed. Fast, fluid, as if taking dictation. Reyes grabbed his tablet and initiated recording. He watched through the glass as Kieran spelled WEKNOWYOUAREWATCHING. Reyes's mouth went dry. "Chen," his voice came out hoarse. "Chen, are you seeing this?" "Seeing what? I'm getting—" She stopped. "Wait, subject 8 is spelling something. Hold on." Kieran's finger kept moving. WEHAVEALWAYSBEENHERE. Chen's voice had changed, tightened. "Subject 8 is spelling the same thing, word for word, same pace." "That's not possible." "I'm looking at it." Reyes's tablet buzzed. Then again, notifications flooding in from the other monitoring stations. All 12 subjects, all spelling, all synchronized. THEFOLDISOPENING. The lights flickered, not a power surge. Reyes had worked in enough government facilities to know the difference. This was something else. A pulling sensation, as if the air itself had grown heavier. The fluorescence buzzed at a frequency that made his teeth ache. Through the glass, Kieran turned his head, slowly, deliberately, until he was staring directly at Reyes. The boy smiled. In 7 years of research, Reyes had never seen Kieran smile. Then every monitor in the facility flatlined at once, and Dr. Alan Reyes began to scream. The official report, filed 6 weeks later, listed the incident as equipment malfunction, leading to cascading system failure. It noted that Dr. Alan Reyes had taken a leave of absence for personal health reasons. It made no mention of the 3 hours of security footage that had been wiped from the servers or The emergency transport that had moved all 12 subjects to an undisclosed location before dawn. It certainly didn't mention what the night security guard had seen when he'd finally gotten the backup generators running and entered Kieran's room. The walls covered in writing, hundreds of words appearing in the paint itself. Not scratched, not written, just there, as if the words had always existed beneath the surface and only now decided to show themselves. The same phrase repeated over and over in a spiral pattern that seemed to pull the eye inward. They're coming through the fold. They're coming through the fold. They're coming through the fold. The guard had worked at Meridian for 11 years. He'd seen things that would curl most people's hair. But that night, he handed in his resignation and drove home to Reno. He never spoke about what he'd seen. But sometimes in the small hours of the morning, he'd wake up with a phrase echoing in his head. Words he hadn't heard but somehow knew. A whisper from somewhere deep and dark and patient. We have always been here. And now you know.